If you were a FNAF animatronic, which one would you be? I know for a fact that I would be Shadow Dee Dee. How unfortunate! Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host Connor Monroe, and I wonder what auto caption is calling me today. The FNAF series has been through many stages in development, and like any game, they leave things on the ground only to later appear on the cutting room floor. Features they thought about implementing but never fully realized, or features they liked but later decided to remove. And FNAF, with its 9 games if you include the Curse of Dreadbear DLC as its own game, are for sure some scrapped features that would have altered the gaming experience tenfold. And that's what we're exploring with today's list of the top 10 FNAF scrapped features that would change everything. You wanted it? We do it. Be sure you hit like and subscribe and stick around until the end for a bonus feature, and we'll roll the intro. And in 10, Backlight Animatronics. You may have seen the Backlight Animatronics if you pay attention to the merch. They released Backlight plushies and pop figures a while ago without any real explanation. Well, as it turns out, these alternate colored animatronics are actually for help on its Blacklight mode or hard mode, whatever you want to call it. You don't actually get to see them unless you boundary break, since the animatronics are hidden behind the curtains that don't open in Blacklight mode. But they are still there. They're at the home menu screen, you know, when you can push the showtime. This is at the top because technically they weren't scrapped because they are still in the game even if you can't see them, but they were also technically scrapped because while they are in the game, you can't see them. Even when up close like you get in the Blacklight Chica repair, you can't tell that the animatronic is actually a different color because it's so damn dark. Same thing with Bonnie. And if you do get any color, you think it's because of the lighting, not because the animatronic itself is different. I still want a glitching glitch trap pop figure though. Come on, Funko. In at 9, Mango Vent 4. I've played through the Mango Vent repair on this channel, and it was quite a terrifying experience. Now, despite my other idiocy in this video, dealing with 3 vents was fairly simple, since they open one by one. However, it was actually planned to have another vent at the top of the elevator. Every time you see that opening, you think that Mango may pop in there, but the thing is, that they could have. Mango was planned to have 4 entry points that whole time. Can you imagine how rude of an awakening that would have been if nobody had noticed it? And how incredibly terrifying it would have been if it was implemented? To be over, Anakin, Mango has the high ground. And I'm 100% certain that it would have caused a lot more deaths. I know, because I would have died if Mango had come in from the top. I was just doing this, okay? I wasn't doing this. And at 8, Faceless Bonnie. In the first FNAF trailer, we were shown a couple of things that were never included in the first FNAF game, but one of those being Bonnie's jump scare changed. Well, at least from what we can tell. In the trailer, we see Bonnie's face close up and he ends up revealing his endoskeleton face to us by literally taking off his face. Now, while this is incredibly intimidating, this was never added to the final game. This could have been for the sake of symmetry with Chica, or it could be for lore reasons. We were told by Phone Guy in the first game that the animatronics see us as a naked endoskeleton, and that's why they're attacking us, because it's against the rules and they're gonna put us in a suit to help us. But if that was truly the case, they would have also been going after the naked endoskeleton visible in the supply closet. Like Bonnie will stand right next to it, for God's sakes. It's presumed later on that they're attacking us because we look like our father, William Afton, who the spirits that possess these animatronics have a vendetta against. But it's still weird that he had the animation and never used it for anything else, and saved the Faceless Bonnie for Withered Bonnie in FNAF 2. Maybe it was too scary for Scott, since we know he has nightmares about Bonnie. Or did. Number 7, the beta camera map. The beta for FNAF was full of unused or cut features. Some of these things were interesting, like the original camera map, while now we see boxes that indicate the rooms that the cameras are located, and lines leading to other rooms so we know what rooms connect to each other. Originally, we saw the entire layout at once, and we could actually see the direction the cameras were facing, showing us what we'd really be looking at. I can see how this would be useful, but since the gameplay is more in like a slideshow-esque format instead of animatronics free roaming, we don't really need all that information. And the design we know and love today really keeps it simple and is really all we need. They'll end up in one position on the camera and then they'll be in another, and knowing the direction doesn't really matter if that's the case. It would have been interesting for sure, and it would have changed the game, but it's unnecessary unless the characters walked around all willy-nilly, or walk how we see them and how wanted. Maybe there it would be more useful. Number 6, Running Bonnie. We all know Foxy for Swiggity Swooty coming for that booty, but in the original trailer for FNAF, we saw Bonnie running down the hall instead. This could have been done in an attempt to keep Foxy a secret if a running animation got leaked or something, but Scott was doing this alone, so he'd be the only one to do that. Nobody would have hacked a 4 times failed game designer, and his kids wouldn't have let it leak, which would have definitely made the game more intense. Could you imagine having to deal with a sprinting Bonnie? Foxy you can keep in check by looking at him every so often, but Bonnie is a main antagonist who will come after you constantly, and having him run would have changed the game entirely. Maybe if he ran I would be more scared of Bonnie, but then of course we wouldn't have Foxy, and the game would be even more different. And maybe corn maze wouldn't exist, and I wouldn't have loaded it by accident and nearly myself. Maybe this should have stayed a thing. I wouldn't have had to deal with Chica and pizza pasties, that's for damn sure. Halfway through at number 5, Metallic Baby. Do you know what pop figures are? Well, if this model wasn't made to be a pop figure, I don't know what was. Unless it's just the lighting. In the game files for Sister Location, there is an unused image of the baby animatronic completely red and missing her pigtails. This could be a baby in development image. Wait, wouldn't that just be an ultrasound? Thank you for laughing at that. Unless it was just added in post. I mean, it was. I'm the one who's editing this. Man, this just got real meta. I mean, I heard the laughter too, but that's probably just the voices. This image looks like it was meant to be an inspiration for a completely red metallic baby pop figure, but I don't even know if there are even any baby pop figures. I know there were some for the Backlight Animatronic pop figures, but I didn't realize they're actually from Help Wanted. I might need to get some of those now, unless they're vaulted, which will mean I'll need to pay like $60 a pop. Pun intended. This image could also just be a teaser image or test, or maybe a secret loading screen that was never implemented, or it could just straight up be the lighting, but the image isn't used anywhere in game. So, there you go. It's fun to hypothesize, right? It's just a hypothesis. A game hypothesis! Thanks for watching. And at 4, Static Freddy. The original FNAF that Scott had in mind is not at all like the one we know today. Well, it is in the sense that this is what he wanted to make, but so many ideas and mechanics were added and changed that while we know FNAF at this point is a point and click that gets progressively harder, adding more animatronics later on in a playthrough, that wasn't what Scott had planned at the beginning. In a statement probably on Reddit, Scott revealed that he had originally had plans to make Freddy only jump scare you if he ran out of power, and that he never wanted him to leave the main stage. Eventually this changed, and we don't really know why. Perhaps it was because the game was too easy, or he wanted to see how things would go with 2 animatronics in the same hallway. Or perhaps he had Freddy moving around and got jump scared randomly and kept it. Or maybe he just started moving around on his own. Oh, spooky. This should be scary scrapped features. Oh. And at 3, Withered Foxy. For some reason in FNAF Help Wanted, they were planning on adding even more animatronics. FNAF 2 may be one of the more difficult game modes to cover in Help Wanted, since there are so many animatronics to keep track of. However, they were actually plans on making things worse. Usually in these versions, Night 5 is in a sort of blacklight mode or hard mode where things get hella freaky. But for FNAF 2, they added an additional 6th night that you need to play if you want to unlock the Pizza Party minigame and that ending. The night is called Withered, and it's basically a showcase for the Withered animatronics. The Faceless Bonnie, Withered Chica, all of them. However, hidden within the game files is a model of a Withered Foxy. Now, I don't know if Withered Foxy was in FNAF 2. Hell, normal Foxy looks pretty withered. But there were definitely plans on adding this character to the game, since there is also files of Withered Foxy with a picture of a page from the Freddy files as a texture, presumably to find missing areas or something like that. This page, however, is the page showing you the direction that the Withered animatronics take to get to the main security office. The specifications aren't really there, and we don't know why this was abandoned, but perhaps he will make a return in another game down the line. Maybe Security Breach will have a Withered Foxy now. And ultimately, in at number 2, multiplayer. Believe it or not, FNAF is actually going to include a multiplayer mode. Well, at least in Help Wanted. In the game files, there is a folder called Multiplayer that has several files stored within it. These files are named things like Character Info Table, MP Game Mode, and so on, suggesting that multiplayer mode was actually planned with release. But it's now unclear whether it was entirely scrapped or saved for a future update or something to build hype. Do you have a theory as to if multiplayer mode will return, or make an appearance, I guess? Or what would a multiplayer mode be like? Would you play it? Let me know down below. My theory is that the multiplayer mode may have actually just been for the trailer, since you can see the hands and head of the person playing, but it could be something more. Why wouldn't they remove the files from the game if they were just going to use it for a trailer, and why would they call it multiplayer if they were just using it for a video? I don't know. Finally, in at number 1, lives. I think that one thing that would have changed everything is if FNAF had a life system. Sure, you can go back and do it again after you fail night 5 thanks to the continue button, but I think lives would have made this game worse rather than better. Part of the appeal is that you have one shot, and while yes it saves what night you're on, you still need to restart everything, and I think lives would have taken away from that. Even though it's basically the same thing. Unless the lives would let you continue the night that you were on, or if they were to let you continue the night until you lost all of them, then you had to go back to night 1. Like, if you got jump scared at 5 AM, you'd still be at 5 AM, or if you did that too many times, you'd have to be sent back to the beginning, which would kind of break the game. With this system, having lives is kind of redundant, but we know that this was planned thanks to gameplay that was left on Scott's YouTube channel from the development days of the first FNAF game. Oh, what an empire he would later build. Did you know that the second game was released 87 days after the first? We gotta do a part 2 of 10 FNAF details because I kinda screwed up with my whole Golden Freddy and FNAF 3 thing. Sorry about that, my bad. There we have it, friends, the top 10 FNAF scrap features that would have changed everything. I've been wanting to make this list for a while, so I really hope you enjoyed. Would any of these features made FNAF better, or would some of them have made it worse? Let me know your thoughts down below. And that bonus feature, right, forgot about that. The original name of the Curse of Dreadbear DLC was Rise of Frank and Freddy, and there were still title screens in the game from before they changed it. You can't really access them in-game, but there are the files for it. Which name do you prefer? Make sure you tell me that as well down in the comments. On your way down, be sure you hit like and subscribe for daily gaming content, and ring that bell to join the clan and level up. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.